Welcome to the Deep Dive. We've pulled together quite a stack of insights today.
Yeah, lots of notes, reports, observations from someone really, in the trenches of the digital world.
Exactly. And it all seems to point to this one central challenge right now.
Mm.
The constantly shifting world of social media algorithms, especially here in 2025.
Mm.
So what's in these sources? Well, it gives us a chance to try and understand what these algorithms actually are, how they're working.
And crucially, what it all means for anyone trying to, well, get noticed or share ideas online these days.
Right. The material really drives home how these things are just constantly changing. It impacts everything, like what pops up in your own feed, all the way to how visible creators or, businesses are. We even have notes from someone who's really felt this pressure.
Dealing with viewership drops, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly that. And just the sheer grind of trying to keep pace.
Okay. So based on all this, we can really dig into the mechanics behind it all.
Yeah, let's do that.
Look at the actual impact on reach, visibility, that intense pressure people feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe pull out some strategies, things drawn right from this material on how people are, well, trying to navigate it all.
And this matters to you listening because, look, whether you're making content yourself or trying to find an audience.
Or even just scrolling through your phone.
Right. Algorithms are shaping that experience in really profound ways. So let's see what these sources actually tell us.
Okay.
So first things first, maybe the big question. Based on these sources, how are these algorithms, actually working?
Well, the sources describe them as increasingly complex systems,
Right.
their main job, prioritizing content for you, the user.
And that's based on what you like.
Yeah, exactly. A whole bunch of factors, like your past engagement, likes, comments, shares, all that. Also, how relevant the platform thinks the content is to you.
Okay.
And this is important, what the platform itself is trying to achieve at that moment, their own goals.
Right. And the source material really emphasizes this isn't like set in stone. It's dynamic.
Totally. Platforms like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they're pouring resources into machine learning, constantly analyzing your specific behavior.
What you click on, what you share.
How long you watch something, even just how long you pause on a post without doing anything. Dwell time, they call it.
And the sources say that dwell time is a pretty big signal.
Yeah, it seems to be quite significant. And this is where the material gets really specific about the shifts happening, like right now in 2025.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's a mention of a 2025 Social Media Today report on YouTube. It says their algorithm is weighing viewer satisfaction, basically. Did you like what you watched? About 30% more than just 2 years ago.
30%? That's a huge jump. How do they even measure that?
They're using AI analyzing data from, get this, 2 billion monthly users.
Yeah.
Trying to predict what keeps people watching longer.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just tweaks, it's reacting to trends too, right? Didn't TikTok make a move towards longer videos? The sources mentioned that.
They did, yeah. Back in 2024, they started allowing, even kind of favoring longer stuff, up to 10 minutes.
And that made a difference.
Apparently so. A 2025 TikTok Creators Fund report cited here says videos over 3 minutes saw something like 40% higher reach than the shorter ones.
40%. That must forced a lot of creators to completely rethink things.
No, definitely. Big scramble for many.
And Instagram's doing similar things. I think I saw a note about Reels and trending audio from like June 2025.
That's right. An X post is referenced. It notes Instagram is prioritizing Reels using trending audio, boosting visibility by 25% for creators using those sounds.
25%. So
yeah.
Again, it's all about keeping people on the app longer, it seems.
That seems to be the underlying goal, yeah. But it has real consequences for the people making this.
Absolutely. The source material gives that example, right?
Yeah.
The creator whose YouTube views dropped.
Yeah, a 15% drop in early 2025. They figured it was because an update started favoring live streams.
A format they just weren't using.
Exactly. They hadn't built that into their workflow at all.
It's also interesting how the sources show these algorithms reacting to like bigger picture stuff too, not just platform goals.
You mean the social good content thing?
Yeah. That Hootsuite report from 2025, mentioning platforms prioritizing educational stuff, environmental content.
Apparently after seeing like a 20% rise in users wanting more meaningful content, especially after COVID.
That adds another layer of complexity for creators, doesn't it? You might need to align with these values for a boost.
It seems that way. It means, what worked perfectly fine even last year. Maybe short, punchy videos might actually hurt you now.
And the sources show that actually happened to someone. Their engagement dipped 10% in January because they didn't jump on the right trending hashtags quickly enough.
Yep. That specific example is in there. It really sounds like you have to be constantly learning, constantly reacting.
Which, okay, brings us to the impact. How this stuff directly hits viewership, reach, the numbers.
Right. And the sources are super clear. Algorithms aren't just nudging things. They're fundamentally shaping who sees what.
Like the YouTube stat. That's wild.
70%. Yeah, a 2025 YouTube Culture and Trends report says algorithms drive 70% of all watch time.
So most people find videos because YouTube suggested it, not because they subscribed.
Pretty much. It's recommendation driven.
And the sources track a creator dealing with this, right? Started, okay, maybe 5,000 views.
Yeah, but then some freshness bias kicked in during 2024. The algorithm liked stuff under 48 hours old. And boom, their older videos dropped 20% in visibility. Yeah. Suddenly they felt like they had to upload way more often just to stay afloat.
And it's not just YouTube. Instagram, TikTok, same deal.
Just as dependent on the algorithm, yeah. That 2025 Sprout social study mentioned found Instagram posts using trending stuff, Reels with popular filters. Audio got 35% higher reach than just like regular photo posts.
35% higher. Wow. And the creator in the notes saw that themselves.
Yep. Their photo impressions went down from maybe 1,200 to 800. But their Reels, they shot up to 3,000 impressions.
Okay, so you can see why people chase Reels.
Definitely. And TikTok's For You page, I mean, it's famously powerful, right? Using AI to match content to very specific interests.
It can make someone go viral overnight.
Potentially, yeah. A 2025 TikTok analytics report showed half the viral videos in 2024 used a trending sound within like 72 hours of it peaking.
3 days. That's fast.
Super fast. And the creator in our sources tried that strategy, trend jacking they call it, in March 2025.
And it worked.
Big time. Average views jumped from around 10,000 to 50,000.
Okay, that's the kind of result that makes you feel like you have to chase trends. But the sources also talk about the downside, the volatility, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge point. These changes aren't always gradual. They can just decimate your reach overnight.
Really?
Yeah. One creator's Instagram grew nicely in 2023, added 500 followers. Great. But then a 2025 update started prioritizing close connections.
Meaning people you interact with a lot.
Presumably. And suddenly, their posts were only reaching 5% of their followers, down from 10%. That's half the reach gone.
Ouch. And if you rely on this stuff for income,
that unpredictability hits the wallet. That 2025 Creator Economy Report. It found 60% of creators saw revenue drop right after algorithm updates.
60%.
And the creator in our notes experienced that too. Affiliate earnings dropped 15% in February 2025, likely tied to that lower visibility.
So, okay, reach tanks overnight, income gets hit.
Yeah.
It just sounds like this constant change creates, well, intense pressure just to keep up.
It really does. The sources mention that again and again. Creators feel they have to constantly watch trends, test new formats, tweak everything just to stay visible.
That later study from 2025 is pretty eye-opening. 75% of creators spending 10+ hours a week just analyzing algorithm changes.
10 hours. That's basically a part-time job just managing the algorithm.
Wow, and the creator in the notes confirmed that grind, starting their day with trend research.
Yep, 30 minutes every morning, checking X, TikTok, seeing what's bubbling up.
And adapting isn't always easy, like learning new skills, the long-form TikTok example.
Right. That creator spent weeks learning to script and make 5-minute videos, a format they hated before.
But it paid off, apparently.
Sources say it did, yeah. Contributed to a 20% follower boost by April 2025. So the effort was worth it, but it was still effort.
It's not just the time and skill pressure, though. The sources mention the emotional side, too. Burnout.
Definitely. That Buffer survey from 2025, 65% of creators reporting burnout specifically from chasing trends and the algorithm.
65% is a lot.
It is. And the creator in our sources, they battled it. Tried daily uploads for YouTube's freshness thing.
It just got exhausted.
Totally burned out, had to take a break for a week. And of course, views dropped 25% during that time.
Ugh. Catch-22. And this pressure can make people lose their own style, right? The authenticity thing.
That's a real risk highlighted in the sources. One creator overdid the trending audio on Instagram.
And people noticed.
Yeah, comments like, "This doesn't really feel like you." And the sources note it actually led to a 5% unfollow rate back in March.
So chasing the algorithm too hard can actually cost you your audience connection.
Exactly. Tough lesson. And trends themselves move so fast, often driven by what users suddenly want. like that X thread
It's
mentioned.
about the raw, unfiltered content.
Yeah, documented 30% rise in demand for that behind the scenes, less polished stuff.
And the creator saw that and shifted.
They did in May 2025, adopted that style more, and it apparently helped regain about 10% engagement. So it's about seeing those shifts too.
Which means you constantly need to be learning, right? Not just creating.
Absolutely. The sources point to LinkedIn Learning seeing a 40% jump in people taking algorithm strategy courses in 2024.
And the creator in the notes did that. Learned analytics tools.
Yeah, enrolled in one, learned tools like vidIQ to understand keywords, audience behavior better,
And that helped their YouTube views.
boosted them by 15% in June 2025, according to the notes.
Okay, so it's not just guesswork. There are tools, there is data you can use.
It really underlines that, yeah. You can be strategic about it.
So given all this,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure, the changes,
Mm-hmm.
what actual, practical strategies do the sources suggest? How do you navigate this?
Well, the sources seem to point towards needing a balanced approach. One big thing is consistency.
Just showing up regularly.
Pretty much. One creator aimed for 3 posts a week, and that lines up with a Social Media Examiner report cited from 2025, which found consistent creators tend to see about 20% higher engagement.
Okay, so consistency is like table stakes almost,
Hmm.
regardless of the algorithm.
Seems like it, based on this.
Yeah.
Second, really use the analytics.
Dig into the numbers the platforms give you.
Exactly. The sources show creators using stuff like TikTok Pro. One creator found their audience peaked at 7 p.m.
And just posting that made a difference.
Doubled their reach, apparently, just by posting at the right time, according to their own data.
That's powerful. Simple, but powerful.
What else? Experiment. But the sources suggest doing it cautiously.
Not jumping on every single trend.
Right. Maybe test one new thing a month. Like Instagram's collaborative posts feature from 2025. One creator tried that, saw a 10% reach increase, but it didn't totally derail their normal workflow. Measured adaptation.
Okay, measured adaptation. I like that. And what about the authenticity problem we talked about? How do you balance trends with staying true to yourself?
Yeah, that comes up repeatedly as being really crucial. That Sprout Social survey, 70% of users prefer genuine content over just trend chasing.
70%. So people can tell.
They really can. The creator who got those doesn't feel like you comments, they learned that lesson.
And how do they fix it?
They started blending trends with their own style. So maybe use a trending sound, but apply it creatively within their niche, like tech reviews.
Ah, okay. So using the trend, but making it their own.
Exactly. And the sources note this actually helped get their engagement back to where it was in 2023.
That's great. So filter trends through your own voice? Makes sense. Anything else?
One final big one, emphasized in several sources, diversify.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Precisely. Relying only on one platform is just too risky with all this volatility. The sources mentioned 60% of creators who diversified in 2024 reported more stable income.
Even if one platform's algorithm changed on them.
Right. Because they had others.
Mm-hmm.
The creator in our sources expanded to X, grew 300 followers there in 3 months. Another channel, another audience touch point.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Relying on just one algorithm seems incredibly precarious based on everything we've seen here.
It certainly looks that way. And, while it's easy to just focus on the challenges or just blame the algorithm.
Which people definitely do.
Right. The sources also offer some critical reflections, pushing beyond that simple narrative.
Okay, what do those reflections tell us?
Well, the story is often, the algorithm killed my reach. But one X discussion thread cited from 2025 noted something interesting. 80% of creators might blame the algorithm, but maybe they aren't doing enough to actively engage the audience they do have.
Ah, so it's not just the algorithm, it's also about community management.
That seems to be part of it. The creator's own experience showed that. Low comments on some videos. But when they started actively asking questions in the video, prompting interaction, visibility on those specific videos went up 15%. So engagement from the creator matters too.
That's a really important nuance. What else?
Another critical point is just the lack of transparency. The data gaps.
Platforms don't tell you everything about how it works.
Not even close. YouTube's 2025 transparency report, for instance, apparently only covers about 40% of its ranking factors.
40%. So creators are guessing about the other 60%.
Pretty much. And that lack of clarity, that opacity, it definitely fuels a lot of the frustration and anxiety.
You can see why.
Absolutely. But the sources kind of imply that while that's tough, maybe focusing on what you can control.
Like making good stuff and connecting with your audience.
Exactly. That might help lessen the dependence on and maybe the anxiety around the algorithm's whims.
Okay. So pulling all these different threads from the sources together,
Yeah.
what's the big picture?
I think the sources paint algorithms as this constantly shifting, definitely challenging, but not necessarily impossible landscape.
Right. We've seen how they evolve fast, prioritizing viewer satisfaction, new formats like Reels or longer videos, even reacting to calls for social good.
And how that directly hits reach. YouTube driving 70% of views, Reels getting 35% more reach. Those are big numbers.
And the pressure that puts on creators is undeniable. All those hours spent analyzing, the risk of burnout, maybe even losing your authentic voice.
Very real pressures documented in the sources.
But crucially, the sources also lay out a path. Strategies like consistency, actually using your analytics, experimenting carefully,
Staying authentic even while trying trends.
and that big one,
Yeah.
diversifying across platforms, not relying on just one.
Yeah. Ultimately, based on this material, feels like understanding the algorithm isn't just about, like, gaming the system to survive.
It's more about
It's maybe more about figuring out how to genuinely connect with people within this system. Using the tools, understanding the landscape, but always keeping that audience connection front and center.
it's a really tricky balance, isn't it?
It definitely seems to be.
So what does all this mean for you listening to this? As you think about your own way through these digital spaces, given everything we've kind of unpacked from these sources, the constant flux, the pressure, but also those strategies, how do you think you can best approach that balance? Adapting to algorithm-driven trends while still staying true to your own voice, your own goals, and really connecting with the audience you want to reach.
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
Definitely something to think about as you navigate those ever-shifting digital sands.